there's this kind of point where I'm sitting here going, wow, all of these tiny moments in my life, whether it was working at Target when my kids were younger, having my dad who set up nonprofit cooperatives, businesses and stuff like that as a lawyer, me being part of this homeschool cooperative, not only just being a part of it, but actually a leader in it and really understanding what the bylaws said. And so like all of those things have come together and it's very exciting. Welcome back. So they say that if you want to do a podcast, you just got to show up at first. And by they, I mean like the podcast guru that I follow, who I listen to. She said, just show up and it'll be messy at first, but you'll get better at it every time. So following in her recommendation, this is going to be messy, but I'm glad you're here and I hope you enjoy the information I'm sharing today. I very basically am just mostly plogging, right? Just podcasting my life. So plogging, I've never heard that word, but maybe it exists. If not, there it is. I invented it. So this week, if you listened to last week, I talked about wanting to do more vendor events and reaching out to some other people and setting up some locally on weeknights. The meeting was really great, and ever since that meeting, things have kind of been snowballing, and I feel like really good about everything that's kind of layering on top of each other. And I've seen signs. So let's talk about a little bit of it. When I was at the meeting, one of the things that it was two other young women, and I think they're in their 30s. They said that we could even pitch in and have an actual space and, everybody pitch in for rent. And the more I thought about it, wow, yes, we could have a whole group of us. And then I'm like, wait, that's like a cooperative. If we got enough of us, we could create a marketing cooperative. And I do have quite a bit of experience with cooperatives. I also have experience running retail stores and working in retail stores. And there's this kind of point where I'm sitting here going, wow, all of these tiny moments in my life, whether it was working at Target weeknights when my kids were younger and taking the bus to get there, or whether it was having my dad who set up nonprofit cooperatives, businesses and stuff like that as a lawyer, or whether it was me being part of this homeschool cooperative for years and not only just being a part of it, but actually a leader in it and really understanding what the bylaws said. And so all of those things have come together and it's very exciting. It's exciting because this is a project that I see being beneficial. Oh, and here's another thing. My degree, which I never use, I have a master's degree in recreation, sport, and tourism. And the whole idea of connecting with this local sports complex to do vending events is I know how, it's going to be their stakeholders, we're stakeholders, the city's stakeholders, the local businesses nearby. And I can create a business plan that shows how everyone will benefit from this. I can put together with Canva and my design fun. I have all of the pieces. I just need to build that community. And so it was really fun to sit at a table with these two people who were like, yes, we're in, let's do it. And then I found on Facebook a woman my age who makes teas, who does pop-up events. And so I reached out to her and she's like, yes, let's do it. And I'm thinking, there are so many creative people that, creative people, half of them are like me. we just want to make things and then not necessarily know what to do about it, right? What do we do now that we've created this thing? And marketing is this whole nother like shebang, shaboodle, whatever, I've made that up. A whole nother circle, right? It's this whole nother endeavor. And if we can work together, it's going to benefit all of us. So first, there's the whole vending idea and setting up these events that can benefit all of us. And then also, obviously, this is an obvious one, connecting with each other to help find other locations that we can do it. But in town locally, like helping to actually build that community. And then the whole idea, this new idea of having a actual like long-term space where my books are sitting on the shelf and my zipper pouches and maybe whatever endeavor I get into in the future, whatever creative thing, a space for that. And big dream, I've even wanted to do, I created a business plan for something called Playful Spirits, which was just like events where you come and make something and all of the supplies are there, right? You've seen like paint and sip parties, right? So that kind of thing, but with different projects. And all of it's there in front of you, right? Like everybody make a paper crane strand. Everybody gets to pour paint today. And that's kind of a fun thing that I've always thought was a great idea and definitely something I can do if I had the space and the community to sign up to do that stuff. So I just, I see so much potential, and not just the idea potential, like the actual on the boots, get it done potential. And that's really exciting. So definitely want to set it up as a cooperative. I want to do this so that it's long lasting. The homeschool group I was a part of was set up in the 80s and it was still going strong. It still is going strong, you know. So because it had strong bylaws, it had strong foundation of what it believed about education, about parenting, about how to do things as a group and let everyone have their voice and include everyone. And there's a co-op that was founded the year I was born because, well, I'll get into that some other day. But it's still around. It's a food cooperative with healthy options from local farmers, and that's 51 years old. So there's something. It's a really viable business structure that is safer for an individual to become, involved with, because it's not just you. You have a group of people working towards something. You just have to find your common thread, right? And so for us creatives, our common thread is find people to buy our stuff and getting out in front of people. And so I think that's my next kind of big moves are some really paperwork organizing of a cooperative plan for vending and retail space, big dream retail space here in my town, not in the town next to us. And then I also immediately found people who have different vending events, right? So I'm connecting and finding those events more often. So that's making me feel like if I really put the time in, maybe I could give up these serving shifts and switch over to doing this full time as my job instead. But that's scary. It's really scary. So I don't know. I'm not ready to say that yet. I really want to build a foundation. I really want to make sure that I can pay the bills before I quit the other job, which means that Fridays and Saturdays are off limits for vending events pretty much. And that's kind of sad. But there's still other ways to kind of mosey on into moving towards this. I also want to talk just a little bit about the whole idea of having selling my books. So if you're an indie author, you are responsible for getting people to know about your book. There's nobody else doing it. It's not like once you put it on Amazon, Amazon's telling everyone about it. There's thousands of books being added every day, especially now with AI. There's so many that your book just becomes one pebble in a pond, a big pond, right? Maybe it's even the ocean at this point. So you have to reach people, and the ways of doing that on social media are, it's organic, they say, but it's very limiting. It's really about luck. And I was very lucky and found some great readers. And so I know now that my book is worthy of being marketed, but I can't financially make it a feasible plan to sell my book by reaching one person on TikTok a month, right? Or 2 people a month. If I make lots and lots of posts, I can find 3 or 4 readers a month, but that takes a lot of time and it is disheartening. But the algorithm really loves, the Amazon algorithm loves to see, it loves to sell what's selling. So when I talk to people about my book in person, they're much more likely to buy it. I don't know how many of them have read it, but I have talked to a lot of people who are like, oh, I'll go buy that, because I'm a server, so they go somewhere else to buy it. They're not like buying it directly from me. But I do know they've bought it because I don't have a ton of sales. So like it's obvious, oh, that person bought my book today. The fact is, if I'm in front of people selling my book, I will sell more books. So I need to do that. And if I can create a more dedicated group of people following my books, then when book 3 comes out, instead of the 15 people who were excited to buy this book, it'll be 100, right? So you just kind of grow, or 200 or whatever. So if I have those sales that first day, then Amazon's like, oh, ding, ding, this is a winner. And they share it with more people. So getting out in front of local people, connecting with people, and getting them excited about the series will increase all of that. So like starting in my local pool really makes sense as an indie author. Also, with my art, I've been so all over the place. When the kids moved out, I was brokenhearted and sad and classic empty nesting. And it happened very suddenly. 3 of them moved out in 1 year, and it was during COVID. So I was at home and I spent a lot of time quilting. And I had never really quilted before. I had started one, but I had never like actually done it. So I got really into it, and I made bags and I made paintings and I did all this stuff, but I never really felt like maybe it's good enough. This is cute, right? Right? Is this cute? I like needed validation all the time. And I am finally in a place where I know my zipper pouches are quality. First of all, people like them and people have bought them, so that's validating. But also, I've used them very actively for the last 5 years, and they're still going strong. They're still pretty. They still are sturdy and durable. So I know they last. I know their quality. I know they're good. I like them. And so like all of my different creative projects, I'm realizing now there's always this validation we need. And here's one other thing. One of my best friends, I would say she's one of my big best friends, right? For friends that are friends for life, is an amazing artist. Like, she's the kind of person who has dedicated decades to a specific medium, and she has gotten so good at it. And even she was insecure about it. And when I find that she's insecure about it, I think, oh my gosh, how can she be? And then I realize maybe some of my insecurities are unfair to myself too. So now I'm a lot more confident in that I create things that are pretty. They are nice. They are beautiful. So they have value, and that it changes the way you look at everything too. You know, if I'm going to go set up a booth, before it was, what if people don't like my stuff? Now it's more like, oh, okay, I just need to set it up. And that's a huge weight off your shoulders, knowing that instead of being scared, will people like what I'm selling? It's more of a, I just have to put the table out and put the banner up, and I just have to be there. And that is a easier prospect than with all of those fears speaking on your shoulder. And then I'm finally reaching a point, and my husband always is like, why? I've been saying this for years, and why are you only now? Because he gives great advice, but he states it like it's obvious. And to me, I need to come to the realization myself, and I need to really accept it. So I'm all over the place in what I create, right? I'm all over the place. I wrote a fantasy book. I wrote a memoir. I paint. I make resin jewelry. I quilt. I crochet. I make little amigurumis. I mean, I'm just all over the place. And he's like, well, you really should just pick one or two things and do those things. Yeah, I know. I know. It makes my life easier. It makes things, but it felt so boring. It felt so boring when he said it. And he's not wrong. And I'm realizing it now. I know, and I accept it. And I'm still working on processing, like, what does that mean for me? What do I want to focus on? Obviously, I think my quilted zipper pouches are an obvious one. I think I need to give up the whole jewelry thinking. I think it's beautiful, but it's not exciting for me. And I don't even have pierced ears. Like, I don't wear jewelry. When I do, it's not a lot. So making it just doesn't really fit my brand, if you're going to say that. I don't know. So yeah, so figuring that out, that's my next kind of. And also then when you sell on Etsy, you can streamline it a little bit, right? And just have, because for those of you who don't know, Etsy charges you 20 cents for every listing you have. So if I create a listing for, if you're on video, this is just a crocheted, what are they called? Did you put your drinks on? Coaster. This is a crocheted coaster, right? I could list this for $5 and it would cost me 20 cents to list it. And then Etsy also takes a cut. But then if it sells and I make something else, another one, and I put it up, it's 20 cents again. But if I put one up and I say I have 20 of these, I only have to pay when it sells. My problem is if I make one of these, if I make 10 of them, they're all going to look different. They all have their own colors. They all are their different shapes because my ADHD wants to make it unique and different and fun, which is great for a market booth, I think, because people get to know and they're like, oh, the fabric on this one is different than all the other ones. It's its own one. But if you're selling like a lot of something, it makes a lot more sense to have it be the same if you want to sell it online. So I know this, and it is something I'm trying to process, and I'm still not there, but that's on my list of things. So I have so many projects in the works, so many things to do, but none of it feels urgent. And that's important, I think, because I want to do this right. I want to do this whole events planning and this group. I want to get this cooperative set up right. So anyway, if you're still here, again, thank you. I'm not looking at the camera. Thank you. I I'm going to keep showing up, and we'll see how it builds. If you want to be part of the community, you can join the Discord. And on the Discord, we have the Wise Women's Fantasy Book Club. We have our Writers Guild, and we have a Playful Spirits, which is where we talk about art and gardening, and then just, community and being there for each other in a time when we all could use a little group of people that we just feel safe with. Yeah, have a good week.